Hello everyone, welcome to Data Appreciation with Shino, and we'll be doing a Coursera lab by Skill Up Tech titled Using Calculated Fields for Advanced Analysis. So in this lab, we learn how to use calculated fields for advanced analysis in Tableau. So we'll complete this lab using the free Tableau desktop public edition software, and you can also use the free Tableau public online platform, but some tasks may not work in exactly the same way and may not be supported in that version. So you will need a free public account for this lab. If you haven't already done so, you can sign up for the free Tableau public account. Now, this lab uses a sample data set called the World Indicators Data to showcase the Tableau features used in this lab exercise. So you download the data set. So I drop the link for the data set in the description for this post. So first of all, we'll be using calculated fields for advanced analysis. And in this exercise, we'll use the world indicator data, just like I mentioned earlier, to illustrate some of these advanced dashboard capabilities in Tableau. We'll use the level of detail expressions to find out regional average GDP per capita and country internet usage. And we'll use one calculated field inside another calculated field, refers to as a nested calculated field, to calculate a complex formula for finding the year-on-year health expenditure growth. So first, let me do something here. First, we'll calculate the average regional GDP per capita, country internet usage, and year-on-year health expenditure growth, and then apply those to the visualization. So in the file menu, remember we would click close. Under to a file, we select text file. So what this basically shows us how to connect to our world indicator dataset, which is a CSV file. And then we go to sheet one to extract the data, which has already been prepared by Tableau. And in the main menu, we'll click analysis to create our calculated field, and we'll name the field. So this is our first calculated field. So let's just copy this and we'll enter the following calculation. So let's go to Tableau. We want to start afresh. So this is whatever which you will still get what we have here. So we come to text file. We're picking the world indicators data set. So I had used it previously. So let's see, world indicators data. So indicators small. Here it is world indicators data. So once the data has been extracted, we go to our sheet. Remember, we're creating calculator, so you can create calculated field from this drop down here, or we create calculated field from analysis, then we create calculated field. So we titled it Regional Average GDP per Capita. Next, we enter this formula, which is fixed for region, giving us fixed for region by the sum of GDP divided by the sum of population total. all in nested brackets. So in the curly brackets, I mean. So we have our calculation valid. So if we want to have an idea of what we have here, we double click on this, get a dialog box that should pop up on this side. It's supposed to, okay, so that's it. So fixed, you can see what it tells us. Fields, first dimension or second dimension, it's an aggregate expression. It computes an aggregate using only the specified dimensions. Now this region is a data type in our data, it's a string data type. Sum here returns the sum of all the values in the expression. Some can be used with numeric fields only, no values are ignored. GDP is in our data field as an integer. Population is in our data field as an integer, so that's why we're able to sum it up. So click on apply and OK. So the next thing we'll do is go back again to create another calculated field. In this new field, we will call it country internet usage. So let's go create calculated field, country internet usage, and then we'll enter the calculation formula, include country or region by the average internet usage. So we're trying to calculate the country internet usage. So anything is going to include all countries and regions to give us our country internet usage. So let's say include. It computes an aggregate using the specified dimension and the view dimensions. Our country and region is in our data as a string. And average returns on the average of all the values in the expression. Average as AVG can be used with numeric fields only. No values are ignored. So internet usage, the data type fields. So we apply, say okay. So next we have a new calculated field which we will call previous year health expenditure per capita. So new calculated field, and the formula is the lookup sum of health expenses divided by capita, and this minus one means that we're going the previous row by row. So let's see if, so you see here it returns the absolute value of the given number. So let's start on lookup first returns the value of the given expression in a target row specified as a relative offset from the current row. The first plus n and the last n for a target relative of the first and last rows in the partition. If offset is omitted, the compare to row may be set on the field menu and returns null if the target row cannot be determined. Example, let's say look up sum of profit first plus 2 is equal to sum of profit in the third row of the partition. Sum returns the sum of all the values in the expression, which is our health expense per capita. So apply and say okay. So you can see here it says results are computed along the table across. So next we would create another calculated field and call it year on year health expenditure growth. So new calculated field, So next, we enter the calculation sum of health expenditure per capita minus the previous health expense per capita divided by the absolute previous health expenditure per capita. Let's see. So we spread this out a bit. You can see it turns the absolute value of the given number. So even if it's negative, we get a positive. Our previous year, the integer is valid. The lookup. So it's so here what we're having here is a field, calculated field, and that calculated field. The next we would now visualize our expressions. So first of all, we'll take region to columns and regional average GDP per capita to rows. The region, columns, regional average GDP per capita to rows. So once we've done that, next what we're going to do is to drag the country internet usage to the color section on the marks card. So the country internet usage to the color section mark card. So you can see the internet usage, and we can see one of the highest is the region of Europe, followed by the Americas, followed by Asia region, Oceania, Middle East, then Africa. So for the internet usage for Middle East is 3.1, for Africa it's 2.3. So next we will drag the so just like I said earlier, we consider each regional bar displaying GDP per capita shows color variations according to the internet usage value. Now we'll drag the year-on-year expenditure growth calculated field to the tooltip section on the max card. YoY tooltip. So that's been done. You can see the YoY, that's year-on-year health expenditure growth. In the worksheet tab at the bottom, I will give our sheet title year-on-year expenditure growth, and we close by clicking enter. So this worksheet, we title it year-on-year growth and hit enter. So you can see it right here. We format it again. The next thing is we'll hover over Europe in the visualization and note the information on the tooltip, and hover over Oceania and note the information on the tooltip. So over Europe, the information is telling us we have the regional average GDP per capita as 20,600, internet usage 22 index, and the year-on-year growth is 10. For Oceania, you can see the internet usage is far less, and the year-on-year growth is in the minus. So First, so what we'll do next is we'll use the complex logical conditions to show GDP performance tiers for categorizing region. So a tier will be more like a bracket, a I like calling it a bracket, but it's to create comparison. And what we'll do now first is to create a calculated field that uses the if then else statement. Then we'll create another one that uses the case statement and then apply them to the visualization. So let's go to a new worksheet, and in analysis we create another calculated field and we name the field GDP performance tier. Go to a new worksheet, created field, name it GDP performance tier. So we enter the calculation formula that if the GDP is greater than equals to is about um, is about 120 billion. So let's take this in. So this is sum of GDP. So I think there should be. So let's see what the error is. So giving a bad character. So this is our bad character. So I think let's change this to this. Let's see if so it should be this. So if we didn't use the correct character, we would not have it as ash. So you can see the the item is now it's no more dark like this. It's now so let's make that correction here too. Okay, so if the sum of GDP is greater than or equal to this figure, then high. Else, if the sum of GDP is greater than or equal to this, then it's medium. Else, it's low end. So now our calculation is valid for GDP performance tier. So in the main menu, we'll click analysis, then we'll click another calculated field. We'll call the calculated field region category and enter the formula. So let's this new calculated field title. We have similar error to what we had last time. So we're almost done with this calculated field. So the case region when Europe, then developed when Africa, then developing when Asia, then imagine, else we pick order, then end. So we apply this. So what we did here was to pick the four regions that we are concerned with, which is Africa, Asia, and Europe. Then we'll click on OK. Then lastly, if we apply calculated fields created using logical conditions into a comparative symbol map visualization, we'll drag region to columns and drag the country region to rows. So region to columns and region country to rows. So let's have region, columns, country region to rows. So next, we'll click on the show me menu and select symbol maps and click on show me menu again to hide it. So click on show me menu, click the symbol maps. So to change this to a symbol map, which we have already, then click on show me again to hide the show me menu dialog. So now we have our regions: Netherlands, Oceania, Middle East, Europe, Asia, and Africa. So next, in the worksheet tab at the bottom of the page, we double click the sheet 2 title and rename it to GDP Performance Tier. Rename this now to GDP Performance Tier and hit enter. So we'll drag the GDP Performance Tier calculated into the column shelf. The next thing we'll do, we'll drag the GDP Performance Tier calculated field to the color section on the marks card. We'll drag this to the color tier. You can see the colors have been what we'll do next now is to drag the region category to the label section on the marks card. So the next thing we'll do, if you hover over the first map and click the first icon, it will zoom in on the maps. So we pick this, so it has now zoomed in on the maps. So next, we hover over China over the medium column and hover over India over the low column of the Asia map. Asia, we have China, you can see the medium, the India on the low. So we can see it also here from the image description. So this new visualization intricately segments and categorizes countries based on their GDP, providing a view of economic performance across different regions. The symbol map allows for a quick visual assessment of how countries stack up in against order within their respective tiers and coverage. Thank you, and we come to the end of this lab using calculated fields for advanced analysis. Thank you very much.